In a galaxy where empires rule and legends sleep beneath the earth, a young human is thrown into an arena of death. Armed with nothing but his will to survive, he defeats monsters that no warrior has ever faced barehanded, catching the eye of an emperor who offers him the unthinkable. Tame a dragon that has killed every champion for 40 years and earn a starship that could carry him across the stars. Will he rise, or will his bones join the countless who tried before? If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Now, let's jump into the story. The towers of Orion rose high into the purple sky, catching the glow of 3 suns. Their smooth crystal faces shone like frozen lightning, throwing bright reflections across the grand throne world. From the highest balcony of the imperial palace, Emperor Varak stood with his 4 calm eyes fixed on the arena below. He did not blink. He did not shift. He only watched. The arena was a wide circle of sand and stone. It was where warriors from across the galaxy came to prove themselves. It was where death was common and survival was rare. Today, in that great pit, a single human crouched among the shadows. The young man's name was Jinsu. Sweat stuck his hair to his brow, and his pale skin was scratched with thin cuts. His clothes hung torn, his arms marked with bruises. Around him lay 3 void stalkers, creatures feared in every corner of space. Their black shells had split open under his blows, leaking dark blood across the sand. The sight of them lifeless was shocking. Most warriors needed weapons, armor, and technology to defeat even one of these beasts. Jinsu had faced 3, and he had used nothing but his mind and his bare hands. The crowd that filled the stands was made of many species. Some shouted in voices like thunder, others hissed, and some whistled in high tones, but all of them cheered. They could not believe what they had seen. Still, Jinsu did not seem to notice. He only breathed hard, eyes searching the arena to make sure the monsters were truly gone. Behind Emperor Varak, Chancellor Selka leaned close. Her lavender scales caught the sun, and her narrow eyes never left the human below. "Look at him, sire," she whispered. He fought differently. He turned the walls into traps. He broke a beam free and used it as a shield and a hammer. I have never seen tactics like these. Varak did not answer right away. His upper arms rested on the stone rail, his lower arms folded across his chest. At last he spoke, his voice low but steady. Adaptation, not strength alone. He found ways to turn weakness into power. The crowd roared again when Jinsu lifted the broken metal beam high for balance. Though his steps were slow, his eyes stayed sharp. He did not smile, did not celebrate. The fight had been survival, not performance. Minutes later, the human was led through the palace gates. Sand still clung to his boots, and his hand shook faintly, though he hid it well. The crystal throne hall stretched wide before him, filled with alien courtiers who whispered and pointed. Tall pillars of glowing stone lit the chamber with shifting colors. And on the throne itself sat Emperor Varak. He was broad-shouldered, with emerald scales and a face that seemed carved from the earth itself. 4 eyes glimmered as they studied the human. Jinsu bowed once, simple and respectful. "You fought with nothing but your body and your will," Varak said. His voice filled the hall, deep enough to make the air tremble. "Tell me, human, what do you know of dragons?" The young man lifted his head, surprise flashing in his eyes. "Only old stories from my world," he replied. "Great beasts that breathed fire and ruled the skies. But those were just tales. Tails can be roots, Varric answered. He leaned forward on his throne. Deep beneath this palace is a creature your kind would call a dragon. It has ended every warrior I sent to face it. Generals, champions, even hunters of star systems, all turned to ash and bone. For 40 years it has been kept alive, but never controlled. A quiet fell across the chamber. No one moved. No one dared to breathe too loud. Jinsu's eyes narrowed. Curiosity flickered where fear should have been. Why tell me this? Because I saw you today, Varric said. I saw a human who fought without weapons. I saw you think instead of panic. You survived what many call impossible. Perhaps you might face another impossible trial. Selka's breath caught, and even the guards shifted uneasily. Everyone in the room knew the weight of the Emperor's words. You are giving me a choice, Jinsu said at last. His voice was steady, though he clearly understood the danger. Not a choice, Varric corrected. A chance. Tame the dragon beneath my palace, and I will give you one of my own starships. Not just any ship, but a vessel that carries technology far beyond what your people dream of. With it, you could travel the galaxy, go anywhere, do anything. The promise hung heavy in the air. Whispers spread through the court like a wave. A human had never been offered such a prize. Jinsu's jaw tightened. And if I fail? The Emperor's teeth showed in a slow smile, sharp and cold. Then your bones will lie with the others in the dragon's chamber. It is not mercy, it is truth. The human lowered his gaze for a moment, thinking. Then he looked back up, eyes firm. When do I meet this dragon of yours? Varric leaned back in his throne, considering. Tomorrow, at sunset, you will eat, rest, and gather strength. You will need all of it. Jinsu bowed again, the same simple gesture as before. As he was led away, the court buzzed louder, a storm of voices. Some said he would not last a minute. Others said perhaps the Emperor had finally found the one who could break the legend. Alone on his throne, Varric kept his 4 eyes on the far wall. For centuries he had ruled, and he had seen countless beings chase glory or run from fear. This human did neither. He had faced the impossible with a calm curiosity, as though it was only another problem to solve. The Emperor let his hands rest on the arms of his throne. Tomorrow, he said quietly, though no one stood near enough to hear, tomorrow will be very interesting. The suns outside sank slowly toward the horizon, and across the palace the whispers continued. The ember in the arena had not burned out. It had only begun to glow. The next day passed slowly, as if the suns themselves were waiting. Jinsu rested, ate, and drank as he had been told, though his mind wandered often to the words of the Emperor. When the final light of the evening began to fall, guards in silver armor came for him. They led him through the wide palace halls, where the air smelled of crystal dust and incense, and then downward, away from the shining towers above. Captain Torv, broad and silent, walked at the front of the group. His armor bore the scars of many battles, yet he kept his eyes forward and his steps steady. At last, he spoke. I have guided many warriors here. None have returned. Some were loud and proud. Some were quiet and clever. It did not matter. The dragon took them all. His voice carried no cruelty. It was simply the weight of truth. The stairs led them into corridors older than the palace itself. The walls were carved stone, marked with glowing symbols that pulsed softly, like the rhythm of a heartbeat. Their light was faint, but steady, casting long shadows. The deeper they went, the heavier the air grew. Jinsu felt his skin prickle as if touched by unseen hands. Even his breath seemed thicker, filled with the taste of something ancient. The echo of footsteps followed them. Every sound bounced strangely, as though the stone walls remembered old words and repeated them back. Jinsu listened carefully, and the quiet hum beneath the silence reminded him of thunder waiting far away. After many turns and countless steps, they reached the first door. It was not made of wood or metal, but of woven energy, shimmering like water caught in sunlight. Torv placed his clawed hand upon the lock, and the door dissolved with a sigh. 2 more doors followed, each stronger than the last. One vibrated with hidden power, the other hummed so loud that Jinsu's teeth ached. Still, they passed through. At the third and final gate, Torv stopped. He turned and faced Jinsu directly. His reptilian face was hard, his golden eyes sharp. "Before I open this last door, I ask you one thing. Why do you believe you will survive when none before you did?" Jinsu stood still. He did not try to pretend. "I do not believe I will survive," he said, "but I will still walk forward." For a moment, Torv studied him. Then he nodded once, a gesture both grave and respectful. His hand pressed the lock, and the massive door groaned open. The chamber beyond was vast, stretching so far that the edges disappeared into darkness. The floor was covered with sand, scattered with broken bones. Some were human, some belonged to species Jinsu did not recognize, and others were far too large to guess at. The air smelled of ash, of burned stone, and something wild, a scent that stirred every warning in his body. And then the dragon moved. It uncoiled from the shadows with the weight of a mountain sliding free. Its scales were black, but not a simple black. This was a darkness that swallowed light whole. When it shifted, Jinsu saw faint glimmers of stars, as if a galaxy had been captured and wrapped across its skin. Its wings folded tightly, but even so, they reached wider than a house, and its eyes, vast and slow, turned toward him. They were not simple eyes. They spun like galaxies, ancient and endless. The voice came not with sound alone, but with weight, pressing into the air. "Another one comes," it said. "Another who thinks the impossible can be bent. What makes you different, small one?" Jinsu kept his hands open and visible. He stepped slowly across the sand. "I do not think I am different," he said honestly. "I do not think I can win, but I am here anyway." The dragon tilted its head. The sound that followed was not laughter as humans knew it, but it carried the shape of amusement. Every challenger before you came with boasts and blades. They spoke of conquest, of glory. You come with no weapon, no threats, only words. Jinsu paused near a broken pillar. The dragon's sudden strike came faster than a storm. Claws tore the stone into dust, but he had already moved, rolling away and finding cover behind another ruin. Again, the voice filled the chamber. "You run well, but running is not enough." The chase began, but it was not like a hunt. It was more like a dance. Jinsu darted from cover to cover, watching, listening, learning. The dragon struck with power that shattered stone, yet Jinsu began to see small patterns. The dragon favored its right side. It breathed fire in short bursts, never wasting energy. And though its movements were fast and terrible, Jinsu felt something held back, as though the beast was testing him, not trying to end him. "Why are you not trying to kill me?" Jinsu shouted when the silence returned for a moment. The dragon's head lowered, its voice thoughtful. "Because you have not tried to kill me. You do not speak of ownership. You do not command. You simply continue to exist. This is unusual." Jinsu stepped into the open, his chest heaving, but his voice clear. "I should admit something. I have no idea how to tame a dragon." The dragon's great eyes glimmered, its voice rumbled low, and the chamber itself seemed to tremble with the sound. "That, small one, helps more than you know." For all others believed they already had the answer. They carried chains of words, tricks of scholars, weapons meant to bind, but none of them listened. You are the first to admit you do not know. You are the first to walk forward with honesty. A long silence followed. Then the dragon leaned closer, its galaxy eyes filling Jinsu's view. "Tell me, why do you want the Emperor's starship? Why risk your life for it?" Jinsu stood straighter, though fear pressed heavy in his chest. "I want to go home," he said, "and more than that, I want to bring back knowledge. I want my people to see the wonders of the galaxy. They are young. They need to know they belong here too." The dragon breathed deeply, its chest rising like a mountain. Then slowly, it lowered its head until its muzzle touched the sand. "You are not like the others. I will not be tamed, but I will choose." Jinsu reached out with one hand and placed it against the warm skull. In that instant, a bond formed, not of master and servant, but of two beings agreeing to walk together. The hush of the chamber seemed to lift, and for the first time in many years, the stones themselves seemed to breathe easier. The dragon's voice whispered one final truth. "My name is Sar, and I choose to walk with you." The climb back through the palace halls felt shorter, though the stairs had not changed. Whispers traveled faster than footsteps, racing ahead like sparks through dry grass. By the time Jinsu and the dragon reached the brighter levels above, the courtiers and guards already lined the passages. Eyes wide, some full of awe, some filled with fear, they watched the impossible become real. A living dragon moved calmly beside a human. The dragon's scales shimmered faintly, swallowing the light of the crystal walls, while its galaxy-like eyes regarded the crowd with quiet patience. Jinsu walked at its side, one hand brushing the beast's muzzle as if they had always known each other. The silence of the onlookers was louder than shouts could ever be. The throne hall stood open, crystal columns glowing with their inner fire. Emperor Varrock sat upon the great seat, his four eyes unblinking as he watched them enter. The courtiers whispered, their voices sharp with disbelief, but none dared to speak aloud. Jinsu bowed as he had before, simple and steady. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice carrying through the chamber, "I return as you asked." Before Varrock could answer, the dragon spoke. Its voice rolled through the hall, deep and resonant, shaking the crystal walls like 1,000 quiet bells. "Emperor of Arian, I have not been tamed. I cannot be tamed. But I have chosen this human. He has earned my partnership." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Chancellor Selka stepped forward, her purple scales bright in the hall's glow. "Forgive me, Great One," she said carefully. But how can we be certain you are not simply biding your time? You have slain countless warriors. What makes this different?" The dragon turned its galaxy eyes upon her. "Because this human did not come with chains. He did not come with pride or weapons. He came with honesty. He is the first to admit he does not know how to control me, and so he has become the first worthy of my choice." The hall fell silent again. Emperor Varrock's upper hands rested on the arms of his throne, while the lower pair folded across his chest. His voice broke the stillness, calm and even. "Then the bargain stands. The promise was clear. If the human faced my dragon and earned its trust, he would be granted a starship of his choice from my private fleet." The courtiers murmured in disbelief. No one had expected to hear such words, yet Varric's tone carried no doubt. He had given his word, and he would not break it. Soon, escorts led Jinsu, Sar, and a small delegation to the orbital shipyards. Above the throne world, massive vessels floated like silent guardians. Destroyers with sleek black hulls bent the light around them. Dreadnoughts, bristling with weapons, hung heavy as mountains in the sky. Swift exploratory ships glimmered with silver arrays, sensors tuned to read the whispers of distant stars. Jinsu gazed upon them with wide eyes. Each ship was a marvel, each one capable of power beyond anything humanity had ever imagined. Yet something within him felt no connection to these giants. They were beautiful, yes, but they were made for conquest, for empire, for dominance. He felt no calling in their presence. Then, at the far edge of the yards, almost hidden, he saw it. A smaller craft, perhaps a quarter the size of the destroyers, rested quietly. Its surface was a plain, matte silver, reflecting nothing. Unlike the others, it did not glow with restless energy or hum with active systems. It seemed almost asleep, waiting. Jinsu pointed. That one. Chancellor Selka followed his gaze, her brow furrowed in surprise. The Pilgrim, she said. It is the strangest ship in the Emperor's collection. It has been here for more than 2 centuries. No one has ever flown it. Not because it is broken, but because it refuses. It is alive in its own way. It chooses its crew, and in all this time, it has chosen no one. The dragon tilted its great head, galaxies spinning in its eyes. Yet now it listens, Sar said softly. They entered the Pilgrim together. Inside, it did not feel like a machine. Its walls curved like living stone, smooth and organic. Panels pulsed faintly, as though breathing. At the center stood a single chair, surrounded by surfaces that shifted and shimmered like liquid metal. Jinsu stepped forward. The moment his foot touched the deck, the ship stirred. Lights spread across the walls, like dawn spilling over a horizon. The panels brightened with color and sound, forming maps of stars he had never seen. A voice filled the chamber. It was neither male nor female, but something both gentle and ancient. Welcome, Jinsu of Earth, it said. I have been waiting for you. Jinsu froze, astonished. How do you know me? I listen to the currents of time, the ship replied. I have carried others, like the dragon beside you. I have waited for one who walks with honesty and wonder, rather than conquest. Sar lifted his head high. You knew my kind? The ship's voice softened, carrying the weight of memory. I carried dragons once, long ago, when they journeyed freely between galaxies. I remember their songs and the bonds they formed with those who traveled beside them. I thought those days were lost. Jinsu sat slowly in the central chair. It shifted beneath him, molding perfectly to his shape. He felt a gentle warmth at the back of his mind, a connection that was not heavy or controlling, but welcoming. It was like a hand reaching out in friendship. He exhaled, steady. Period. Then let's begin. I want to go home, but I also want to see what lies between. I want to learn. The ship glowed brighter, its voice filled with quiet joy. Then we will learn together. The stars are wide, and the journey is long, but you are no longer alone. From the viewing windows, the Emperor's fleet stretched in all directions. Yet Jinsu knew the choice had already been made. He had not chosen power. He had chosen partnership, first with a dragon, now with a ship that could think and choose as well. For the first time since he had stepped into the arena, he felt not like a survivor, but like someone standing at the true beginning of a story. The Pilgrim did not leave the shipyards like other vessels. There was no roar of engines, no burning flame against the dark. Instead, its silver surface shimmered as if turning into water. Then it slowly thinned until it faded completely. The only sign of its departure was a ripple in space, expanding outward like gentle circles on a still pond. Inside, Jinsu sat in the living chair at the center of the bridge. Sar, the great dragon, coiled nearby, his galaxy-like eyes watching everything with calm patience. The walls of the ship glowed softly, carrying patterns of light that shifted like flowing rivers. Jinsu drew a slow breath. "So this is the beginning," he said. The ship's voice filled the chamber, warm and steady. "Yes, Jinsu of Earth. This is the beginning of a journey across the long roads of the galaxy. You will see what few have seen, and you will learn what few have dared to learn." Sar's massive head lowered beside him. "The dark between stars is not empty," the dragon said. "It flows, it moves. I will show you how to see it." In that moment, the stars stretched. The ship slid into hyperspace, but it did not feel like falling or breaking through. Instead, it was like gliding into a hidden river, a place where time bent and color swirled in ways human eyes had never been meant to see. Bright currents passed by, glowing like ribbons of possibility. Distant shapes shimmered in the void. Some looked like sleeping giants, others like entire cities of light drifting quietly through forever. Jinsu could only whisper, "It's beautiful." "This is how my kind once traveled," said Sar. "We followed these rivers, not engines. We sang the paths into being." "It has been centuries since I moved this way," the ship agreed with a soft hum. "And now you travel as those before you once did, not by force, not by conquest, but by harmony." Their first destination was the world of Kithris, a planet unlike any Jinsu had imagined. From orbit, it looked as if it were covered in glass mountains. Each peak was made of crystal, glowing with color that shifted like music come alive. Even before they landed, sound filled the ship, soft tones layered into chords, deep hums that rose like voices singing across ages. "The crystals are alive," the ship explained. "Not in the way flesh is alive, but in patterns of resonance. They have been singing for millions of years." Jinsu stepped out onto the platform, his suit protecting him from the thin air. The sound struck him instantly. It was not just heard, it was felt in his chest, his bones, even his thoughts. The song of Kithris carried welcome and warning all at once. A harmony so vast no human words could describe it. Sar lowered his head, scales shimmering faintly as they vibrated with the crystal tones. "They remember," he said. "They remember every storm, every sunrise, every visitor, and they add it to their song." With the Pilgrim's help, Jinsu and Sar sent back simple patterns, tones of respect and greeting. The crystals responded with deep waves of sound, and Jinsu felt a sudden warmth in his chest. It was not language as he knew it, but he understood enough. "They say we are small," Jinsu whispered, a smile pulling at his tired face. "But welcome." They stayed only a short while. The galaxy was wide, and the road between stars called them onward. The Pilgrim carried them next toward the spiral gardens, great arcs of dust and light that spun together in patterns like living art. Then they would travel near the great observatory at the galactic center, a place where entire civilizations once gathered to read the future written in the stars themselves. Back on Orion, Emperor Varric watched the reports with his 4 steady eyes. His court was restless, full of questions. But Varric only said, "The human and the dragon have chosen their own way. It will be worth watching." Out in the deep dark, Jinsu leaned against the living walls of the Pilgrim's Bridge. He thought of home, of Earth, its blue skies, its ordinary mornings after rain. He thought of what it would mean to bring back not just tales, but truths, to tell his people they belonged among the stars. Sar's voice filled his thoughts. "You are not the strongest warrior, Jinsu, not the cleverest, but you carry something more rare. You carry wonder." The ship added softly, "And wonder is the first step to understanding." They traveled on through hyperspace, past wonders that defied description. They saw clouds of living light that moved like schools of fish, planets whose seas glowed with entire libraries of color, and ruins of civilizations that had vanished before the Earth was even born. Each new sight deepened the bond between human, dragon, and ship. Jinsu stood at the front of the bridge, one quiet moment, the endless road stretching before him. "So where to now?" he asked. "Everywhere," said Sar. "Home, eventually," the ship added, its voice like an old friend smiling. "But first, the galaxy has many doors. Let us open them together." As the pilgrim glided onward, rippling the fabric of space like calm water, Jinsu felt a peace he had never known. He was no longer just a survivor of an arena. He was a traveler, carrying the trust of a dragon and the companionship of a living ship. And so, the road between stars stretched before them, vast and endless, not as a path of conquest, but as a journey of connection. It was not about taming. It was not about ruling. It was about walking forward with open hands, ready to learn. For Jinsu, Sar, and the pilgrim, this was only the beginning.